slow your head and watch your step as you board. Slide to the left to make room for your friends and family, but choose your seat wisely. Where you sit is going to be your seat for the duration of the safari.
Gates are closing.
Now watch your hands, arms, feet, and legs on the right hand side. Those doors are closing. Asante San awarded. Now, as we like to say here in Harambe, Twende, let's go. Jumbo everyone, my name is Molly. Hi, I'm going to be your safari guide out here on the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. Now, just a few quick reminders before we head out. Make sure we do remain fully seated at all times. That includes any children that may be sitting on your lap. While it's a fantastic place for them to view the animals, we do ask that they stay there. Do not allow them to stand, hold them up in the air, or hand them to anyone else. Please no eating or drinking out here on the reserve. Also no calling out to the animals. Now we are entering into their home. We don't want to do anything to scare them away from the trucks or detract from their natural tendencies. Stuff like finger snaps, claps, whistles, any loud noises tends to spook them, and they'll actually run away from the trucks. We want the best views possible. We don't want that to happen. Make sure we do have our cameras ready at all times, but hold on tight to loose items. If anything falls, unfortunately, I'm not allowed to stop on the reserve to retrieve the items for you. And right above your head, there is an animal spotting guide. It's going to help you identify some of the animals we may be seeing out here on the reserve. Now, can I guarantee you I'm going to be able to find all of them? I'm not quite that good. They actually do have different migration and sleeping and eating patterns that we can't always follow, but I'm going to do the best I can to find as many as I can. Starting right here in the little Aturi forest. The animals like to use their coats, colorings, and markings here to actually blend into these deep shadows and bushes to help hide away from predators. Over on the right-hand side, in that back corner, there's an okapi. Now, if you get to see its legs, you're going to think they're related to zebras. They do have those stripes on their legs. There you can kind of see them. They actually don't have any relation to zebras at all. They're the only living relative of giraffes. They actually have the same skull structure and prehensile tongue, and male okapis even have those ossicones, the false horns, just like giraffes do. Those stripes on their legs actually just mimic sunlight filtering through the trees. Now, they're very shy and elusive creatures. They actually were officially discovered by the Western civilization until 1901. If they'd hear any humans, they'd actually run and hide. Now, on the top of the hill on the right-hand side, like tan antelope, is a greater kudu. Now, it's a female. She doesn't have any horns, only the males do. They're also the second tallest antelope that may be visible here on the reserve, at about 55 inches tall at their shoulder. And over on the left-hand side across the water, up against that red clay wall, is a black rhino. Now, they do have a triangular shaped upper lip. It's prehensile. It's actually just a fancy word for meaning finger-like. They can actually use that lip to actually pick stuff up to bring to their mouth, break off branches, etc. to help in eating. Now, their only natural threat are humans, and there is less than 5,000 left alive in the world. They are highly poached for their horns. Those horns, though, they're just made of keratin. That's the same thing that our hair and fingernails are made out of. These copper-colored antelopes on the right-hand side, these are bongos. Now, both male and female bongo have those horns that slope backwards from their head, allows them to quietly run through these trees and bushes, giving them the nickname the ghost of the forest. And there's another one of those greater kudus there on the right-hand side. Now we're headed into Sopi River region. Here at Sopi, we're looking for animals that are more aquatic in nature. They spend a lot of their time in or near the water. So watch for dark shapes, shadows, ripples, bubbles, anything that might indicate the presence of animals in the water. Along this section of the Sopi, I've actually seen Nile crocodile and Nile hippos before. Oh, there's a hippo over here on the right-hand side, kind of in that back right corner. Now, usually hippos are pretty hard to see when they're in the water. They can actually hold their breath and stay fully submerged for up to 8 minutes at a time. They'll even sleep under the water. They'll just rise to the top to take a breath and then sink right back down, all without waking up. Now, the large gray and white birds we're seeing on the left are pink-backed pelicans. They're the smallest pelican species. Their wingspan is only about 8 to 9 feet wide, which honestly is the width of the canopy right above your head. Now, I did just see a hippo breach over here on the left-hand side. It's going to be under the water, right here. Now, you can actually see it's using the bottom to actually walk along. They don't really swim. It's easier on their legs to actually walk. They don't use up as much energy. Now, as we go around this corner, we do have a new addition here. There is a brand new mom and baby hippo over on our left-hand side. Now, can I guarantee you we're going to be able to see the baby, but we're going to look. Over here in this back corner. And I don't see the baby. Yeah, she gave birth right here, right on those rocks on Monday. Now, please remain fully seated at all times. We're going to cross over this bridge. I like to call it Croc Bridge because there's Nile crocodile on the left-hand side. Now, they'll get anywhere from 16 to 20 feet long. Weigh between 500 and 750 pounds. Their main diet does consist of fish. They can take down almost any larger prey that is unfortunate enough to walk in front of them. They usually eat about once a week, consuming close to 250 pounds of meat at one time. With their slow metabolism, though, they can actually go close to 8 months without any food at all if they need to. Now, there's a baobab tree. It's going to be on your right-hand side. This tree marks the entrance into the African savannas. Baobab trees live to be about 2,500 years. Stays leafless like that 9 months out of the year. Helps to conserve water. It actually holds close to 30,000 gallons of water in the trunks of the trees. Now, during a drought or dry season, animals know they can go to the baobab to get a drink of water. The bark is very sponge-like in consistency. The animals just need to lick the bark or nibble on the bark to get some water out of it. Gives it the nickname the Tree of Life. Now, we're headed out into the savanna. You can see all this wide open space here. Unlike the forest where the animals hid, the animals here actually use speed. Strength in numbers, which means very large herds, or the animals themselves are very large to help keep themselves safe from predators. We do have the gray antelopes here, our wildebeest. We'll talk about them more in just a little bit. We do have Hartman's mountain zebra here. They have that white belly with an extra flap of skin under their neck called a dewlap. That's to help aid in some extra blood circulation to keep them a little bit cooler. Now, laying down here on the left-hand side, that little zebra is actually the newborn foal. Was born right here on the reserve just about a month and a half ago. Now, not long after that little one was born, he did this thing. I say he, it is a little boy. His name is Dash. We actually has the same dash on the side as his mom does, and he dashes all over the reserve, which is where he got his name from. He actually imprinted, or basically memorized, what his mom's stripe pattern is. So no matter how many zebra are around, he's actually going to know exactly who mom is. Now, it does look like there's some spotted hyenas laying against those rocks in the very back there, against that tree, right by the between that tree and that rock. Now, they're known for their laugh or giggle, but that's actually only one of over 11 vocalizations that they do. They're very, very vocal animals. The other most notable one is that low whooping sound that can be heard from miles across the savanna to help them keep track of each other while they're out hunting. Now, these are Ankole cattle on the left-hand side. They're also called Watusi for the Watusi tribe that first domesticated them. Now, they are the only domesticated animal here on our reserve. Those horns can be up to 6 feet long in length. Depends on the way they grow. They can actually have almost an 8-foot wide span from tip to tip. Now, they're not quite as heavy as you'd imagine. There's a honeycomb-like structure inside of them, allows them to circulate their blood through. As the blood circulates through, it actually releases some of the heat and keeps them a little bit cooler. Now, the wildebeest form one of the largest migrating herds on Earth. Up to 1.5 million will travel together or migrate close to 1,000 miles in search of food and water. Now, it sounds very chaotic, but it's actually not. Even at night, they'll sleep in rows that face away from each other and in zigzags. It allows them to jump and run without getting in each other's way at any sign of danger. And there's that little foal up and walking around. Over on the right hand side, those light tan and white antelopes on the right, they are fully grown springbok. Now, they are only 2 to 3 feet tall, but they run close to 60 miles an hour. Jumbo! When they run, they actually do this thing called pronking. They'll jump 6 to 8 feet up in the air, and then they can jump 13 feet forward. Now, when they do that, they would actually be able to jump straight through this truck. Now we're coming around. I do see some Maasai giraffe up here in front of us. Now, Maasai giraffe have the jagged, irregular edges to their spots, whereas a lot of the other giraffe species actually have smooth edges on their spots. Tallest land mammal, they can get 18 to 20 feet tall. When they're first born, they have a pretty good head start on that height at about 6 feet tall already. Well, somebody's over here very curious. Hello. They'll spend about 20 hours out of their day eating. They spend about 3.5 hours just kind of wandering around and looking for something to eat. And that last 30 minutes of their day is actually spent sleeping. But they don't even sleep all at one time. They just take 2 to 3 minute naps throughout their day. Now, trees that have been knocked over like this, it's usually pretty good indicators that some very large elephants have been through. And there's one that's still here. Directly in front of us, you can see a male African bull elephant. Now, that's what we call fully grown males. This one here looks to be about 15,000 pounds, the largest land mammals. Now we can see him flipping his ears back and forth. That's to help keep him cool. They don't sweat. They don't really have sweat glands to sweat out of. So they need to find alternate ways. There's blood vessels on those ears. As they flap their ears, it cools the blood down. And as the blood circulates back throughout their body, it will actually cool them by about 15 degrees. Now you can see his back is dirty. That's actually on purpose. They have very sensitive skin. They'll throw dirt, mud, hay, anything up on the back of it to actually help protect them from getting sunburned. They throw mud up on there as well and onto their bellies and on their sides to actually help keep them cool as well. Now, I'm sure many of you are aware that elephants are highly poached for their ivory tusks. They face other dangers that aren't quite as well known, and one of those is actually illegal hunting from farmers due to habitat losses. Now, farmers plant their fields out in elephant country, and as the elephants wander through looking for food and water, they'll walk through those fields, accidentally tearing them up with their feet or eating the crops. Farmers, understandably upset, it is their main source of income, but to try to keep their field safe, they actually hunt or poach those elephants. Here on the reserve, we do everything we can to help aid in all animal conservation. So we actually talk to some researchers and conservationists to try to find a way to keep those fields and elephants safe, because we lose about 96 elephants per day here in Africa due to poaching for those tusks or from the farmers. So we teamed up with them. We researched, watched over the herd that we see most often here. We've actually discovered they're scared of bees. So we went to Kenya, we talked to some farmers. They actually helped us out with a little bit of an experiment. They actually put beehives around their fields, and it worked. When the elephants would walk close to the fields, they'd hear the buzzing of the bees. They would actually turn around to walk away or walk around their fields. Now, they can communicate over long distances, about 10 miles. So they'd actually alert other elephants in the area to be wary of those fields as well. So now the fields are fine, the farmers are no longer hunting those elephants. The farmers, they actually get to sell the honey from the hives to help supplement their income. It's a pretty big win-win there for everybody. It's actually worked so well, we have farmers coming to us to see if we have beehives to put around their fields. It's called the Elephants and Bees Project, if anyone wants to take a look at some more information. It's a really great program that we've got going on. Now, for the largest land mammals, they sure do disappear. I have no idea where that elephant went. Probably behind those rocks. Oh, there's pink flamingos up here and some more of that wildebeest herd. Now, don't worry, these wildebeest will not get lost for the rest of the herd. They actually have scent markers on their hooves. If they're ever separated for any reason, they just need to smell their way back to the rest of the herd. Now, these greater flamingos are the largest and lightest pink, but when they're first hatched, they actually have gray feathers. Here on the very left of the island, you can see our smallest hatchling. At about a week old now. The larger ones are close to a month old. It'll take about a year and a half with their diet of brine shrimp to actually turn that light pink color. Now the brine shrimp and the other crustaceans they eat is high in a substance called beta carotene. Oh, there's that elephant way over on the left. Found something yummy back there. Now we're going to head into this area of the reserve. There doesn't seem to be much movement here right now. We never know what's hiding in these trees, so we're just going to kind of look through the trees and see if we can find anything. I see a cheetah in front of us. That's going to be laying directly on this hillside. As we turn, it's going to be on your left-hand side. Oh, and there's some on the bottom of the left-hand side as well. Now, cheetahs are the fastest land animal. They can go from 0 to 60 miles per hour in about 3 seconds. Now, they can maintain speeds of 60 to 70 miles per hour for a few hundred yards while they chase their prey. Now, after that first initial chase, they're actually left completely exhausted. They've used up all of their energy. a little overheated. They can't defend themselves or their prey against any predators that might try to come and take it from them. So cheetahs actually hunt during the day. A lot of the other predators will sleep and rest during the day and hunt at night. They have spots under their eyes that form almost a straight black line. That's to help with any glare during the day when they're out hunting. And their claws actually stay out at all times, just like dogs' claws. That's to help them have better traction in the ground when they're running, to help keep their speed up. They also don't roar or anything like other big cats. They actually have it's like a little chirping sound. Brown antelope laying over here by itself on the right hand side. Now that is a bontebok, and they were nearly hunted to extinction just for those coats. In the right light, that brown coat actually looks like it's purple. Now in the early 20th century, there were less than 20 left alive in the world. Now some of them wandered onto a farmer's field. The farmer liked the look of them, so he actually wanted to keep them, built a fence around them. But by doing so, actually kept them safe from any hunters and poachers, and was accidentally instrumental in helping their numbers come back from the edge of extinction. You usually see some warthogs over on this left-hand side. There are burrows there. They dig out those burrows, they'll back themselves in and lays their backs or their tusks out for protection. They're one of the very few animals that can actually back themselves up. Over here on the right, there's one laying down and there's one standing up. They're water bugs. Now they do have a cute little heart-shaped nose, and right around their tail they actually have a white ring. Now in the moonlight, that kind of illuminates. It's actually to help their young follow them through these thick trees and bushes without getting lost. And those eggs we saw there are actually ostrich eggs. I don't see any ostriches, just some of their eggs. They lay communal nests. They kind of lay their eggs close to each other. They'll take turns watching over the eggs. Each egg weighs about 3 pounds. It takes 2 dozen chicken eggs to equal 1 ostrich egg. And you can actually stand on the shell without it breaking. It can withhold several hundred pounds of pressure. Alright, this area here is Magadi Glen. This does mark the edge of the reserve. We have a warden's outpost here, and we've recently started raising some Nigerian dwarf goats. And you can see them hanging out here at our front and on our table. It's fine. We'll just wipe it off. Oh, the yellow thing hanging right there in the middle, that's actually one of those beehives we put around the farmers' fields. Now these Nigerian dwarf goats, they're very playful. They keep us entertained for hours with their playful antics, but they're also very beneficial. You can see how clear the area to the left is. They eat a lot of the woody underbrush that the other animals cannot or will not eat. Provides better visibility around the outpost and in the villages. And their milk is very nutritious. It's high in vitamins and minerals. Has a high butterfat content and makes an excellent cheese that the local villagers will sell in markets. We did just exit out of the reserve though, friends. And we're going to be headed back into the village. I do hope you enjoyed your safari here with me today. I loved having you here on the back of my truck as we wandered throughout the reserve, seeing these magnificent animals that are out here in Africa. Sharing with you just some of the knowledge that I have of the animals and of the research and conservation efforts that are happening. And you may be wondering what you can do to help out with those. Well, there's lots of things, but you know what? Small changes do make big differences. One of the easiest things for us to do is actually just cut back on our use of plastics. The best you know is actually using reusable bottles, shopping bags, and even reusable straws, because those plastic straws we get from almost everywhere, they actually cannot be recycled at all. They do not properly fit into the recycling mechanisms. Alright, we're going to pull up to this stop here to let you out to enjoy the